Have you ever felt like you're explaining your team's coding standards to an AI over and over and over again? Well, you're definitely not alone. Today, we're going to dive into some really practical skills to turn your LLM from a kind of forgetful assistant into a core member of your engineering team.
So everything we're talking about today comes from engineers who are actually in the trenches making these tools work. This isn't just theory, right? It's a real guide to what's proving effective right now. We'll be talking a lot about Claude Code in VS Code, but honestly, these core ideas apply pretty much anywhere.
So what's the fundamental problem we're all trying to solve here? It's this, the stateless agent problem. You know, a human engineer joins your team, and over a few weeks, they soak up all the unwritten rules, like how you use bun instead of NPM, or that database migrations have to go through Alembic. But an AI agent? Nope. Every single time you start a new session, it's a blank slate. It starts from zero, with no memory of your project's unique quirks. Okay, so to tackle this, we've got a clear roadmap. First, we'll dig a little deeper into the problem itself. Then we'll introduce a really powerful architecture for giving the AI context. After that, we'll get super practical with 5 skills you should set up right away, cover the common mistakes to avoid, and finally, look at the big payoff and a checklist to get you going. All right, let's really get into this problem. See, it isn't just that the agent lacks context. It's actually worse than that. Most of the time, our attempts to help result in giving it the wrong context at the wrong time. And that can be even more frustrating than no context at all. This quote just nails it. You have to think of that context window as a limited, shared space. It's a public good. So when you create this massive Claude.md file packed with rules, you're not just feeding the AI information, you're forcing that file to fight for attention against your actual prompt, the chat history, and everything else the model is trying to juggle. And here's the real kicker. If that rule file is just too bloated with stuff that isn't relevant to the immediate task, the model might just quietly start ignoring the entire thing. It's not being difficult, it's just making a judgment call. It sees a giant wall of text where maybe only 10% applies, and it loses confidence in the document, so it goes back to guessing. And that's exactly what we're trying to stop. So all of this leads us to the solution. We have to stop thinking about one single giant rule file and start thinking about a structured, more intelligent system for giving our AI context when it needs it. Right? If we can't just keep throwing more and more rules into one document, what's the alternative? How do we give the agent the right information at precisely the right time without completely overwhelming it? Well, the answer in a single word is architecture. By being smart about how we structure our context, we can make sure the agent gets exactly what it needs for the task at hand. No more and no less. And this is that architecture. The best way to think about it is like a book. Tier 1, your main clod.md file, that's the table of contents. It's super lean, we're talking under 100 lines, and it only contains rules that apply to every single task. Then you have Tier 2, the skills. These are like the chapters in the book. They're specific playbooks for tasks like writing a commit message or creating a pull request. And finally, Tier 3, the agent guides, are the appendices. This is your deep reference material that the agent only goes and looks up when it gets really stuck. It's all about progressive disclosure. Give it the basics first and let it pull in the details only when needed. Okay, so let's get our hands dirty and start building this out, beginning with Tier 2. The skills are the absolute workhorses of this system. They're what provide that on-demand, specialized knowledge that makes the agent so powerful. Now, inside every skill folder, you'll have a skill.md file. And the most important part of that file, by far, is the description field. This is not just a comment for you. The AI agent reads this little sentence to decide if this skill is relevant to what you just asked it to do. A good, clear description is literally the trigger that automatically loads the right context at the right time. It's crucial. So where do you even start? Right here, with these 5 essential skills. Build, test, verify stops the agent from guessing which test commands to run. Get commit means you can say goodbye to those useless update code messages. Create pull request avoids sloppy, half-finished PRs. Core conventions teaches the agent your team's specific patterns. And self-review checklist is like a final quality check before it hands the work over to you. These 5 cover most of what you do every day. So we have the architecture, we have our first skills, but now it's just as important to talk about what not to do. Let's run through some common pitfalls that can totally undermine this whole system if you're not careful. First and foremost, please resist the urge to cram everything into your root Claude.md. Remember, that's your most competitive space. If a rule doesn't apply to literally every single task, it doesn't belong there. Push it down into a Tier 2 skill or a Tier 3 guide.
Next up, don't try to enforce code style with the LLM. It is terrible at it, and it's a huge waste of context. Use the right tool for the job. You've got ESLint, Prettier, Rough. Set those up and let them handle formatting. An LLM is not a linter.
This one's simple but so important. Use a .clignore file, just like you use a .gitignore. You have to tell the agent to ignore your node modules folder, your build files, all that junk. It saves tokens and, more importantly, keeps the agent focused on the code that actually matters.
And finally, whatever you do, don't just run an init command and call it a day. Your root claude.md is the single highest leverage document you have for guiding your AI. It's prime real estate. Take 10 minutes and write it yourself. Make it specific to your project.
So, after putting in this work, what's the reward? What's the payoff? Well, you fundamentally change your relationship with the AI. You go from having this chaotic, guessing agent to a structured, reliable partner in your workflow. And this table just shows it perfectly. Before, you've got chaos. The agent is guessing test commands, using the wrong package manager, writing vague commits. The context is bloated and gets ignored. But after, it runs the right commands every single time. It follows your team's standards to the letter, and the context is lean, relevant, and loaded exactly when it's needed. The difference is night and day. Ready to get started? Here's your checklist. It's super simple. First, just look at your existing docs and CI files. Chances are the rules are already written down somewhere. Then, write that lean sub-100-line root file. Create those 5 starter skills, maybe write a couple of guides. And then just test it. Give it a real task, see what it does, and tweak it from there.
And how do you iterate? Here's a fantastic mindset shift for you. From now on, treat every single code review comment a human leaves on an AI's pull request as a bug report for your context architecture. It's a clear signal that the agent was missing a rule, so you add that rule, and over time, those mistakes just vanish.
And that leaves us with this really powerful final thought. These rule files, these skills and guides, they aren't just documentation that's going to sit there and get stale. No, this is a living system. You have to treat it like critical infrastructure. And if you do that, you'll build an AI partner that truly, deeply understands how your team builds software.